Hello, welcome. Let's try to solve another Leetcode problem 118, Pascal's triangle. So let's first try to understand this problem. So we are given an integer number of rows. So number of rows for the first example is equal to 5. So we're going to return the first number rows of Pascal's triangle. So what does that mean? We're going to return the first number rows. So for example, if number rows equal to 5, so we're gonna return a nested array. So the length of the array gonna be 5 for this nested array because the number of rows is gonna be 5. So the first one it is 1, it means the first row, and then 1 1 it means the second row. Yeah. So this is the first row, and this is the second, third, fourth, and fifth row. Yeah, we just need to get the result. Get this kind of a result. And how can we get it? We can see the drawing immediately. You know, this value is coming from this one and this one. You know, this value is coming from those two values, and this value 3 is coming from 1 plus 2, and this 3 is coming from 1 plus 2, and this 4 is coming from 1 plus 3, this 6 is coming from 3 plus 3. Yeah, so this means that there must be some properties for the next row, but the next row is get from the previous row. So for example, if we get the first row, we get the second row, and for the third row we can get it, because this 2 is 1 plus 1, and at the left side and the right side we're going to have a 1. And for the next, at the left and the right side we have 1, and in between we have 1 plus 2 and 2 plus 1. Yeah. So now, let's just use some mathematical skills to calculate the final result. So let me just define a nested list of integers. So this is going to be our definition. So the result is going to be a new array list. Yeah, so finally we're going to return the result. Yeah, we just need to put all those arrays inside the array list because this is a nested array. So let's just add the first value. So the first one gonna be an array, and inside it's gonna be 1. We just need to add the first value. So we can use list.of 1. Yeah. So first of all, we're gonna turn this 1 into a list. It's gonna be this kind of list, and we just put it inside the result array. So we just add it. So this is for number of those equal to 1. So this is for the second example. Let me just run it to check if it works. Yeah, as you can see, it passed for the second testing case. It means it is okay. Now let's just check other cases like the example 1. But how can we check that? Yeah, we just need to check how many rows. So we're gonna start from integer I, gonna start from 1, I less than number of rows, and I plus plus. Why we're gonna design it like that? Because if the number of rows equal to 1, for example, we don't need to execute the for loop, only if it is more than 1. So for example, if it is a 2, we need to execute the for loop. So what's going to be inside? So if it is a 2, definitely it's going to be 1 1 for the next array. Yeah. So if I equal, so inside the for loop, we're gonna define a new list, and it's gonna be integers. Yeah, let me just define a row. So the row gonna be new array list, and we need to put a value inside, right? So row dot add a value of 1 because the row is just array list, and in between it's gonna be another for loop. Yeah, if everything is okay, at the end we're gonna add another one. This means at the left side and at the right side we need to add a value of 1. So this is for number of those equal to 2. Maybe let's just create another testing case, and we're gonna set the number of those equal to 2. And now let me just run it. Yeah, for this example, number of those 1, it is okay. What about a number of 2s? So this is the output, but it should be like that. Yeah, this means I forget to put it inside. But how can I put it inside? We can put it here. So the result, we just need to add this row. Yeah. Now as you can see, the path for testing case 2 and 3, this is for number of rows equal to 1 and 2. But what about 5? We just need to use another for loop, so it's going to be here. So we're going to use a nested for loop. So j is going to equal to 1, and j is going to less than I, because this I is for rows, and j plus plus. Yeah, so for here, we need to prepare this row. So the row gonna add all those possible values. But how can we find it? It's gonna be the previous row. How can we find the previous row? And we can use the result.get. Yeah. So here, for this get, if I equal to 1, this is for current row. What's gonna be the previous row? It's gonna be I minus 1. This is going to be the previous row. But how can we find the value? We can use another get. So here, j is going to be minus 1, because j is just starting from 1. Actually, while calculating, this j is from index 0 plus index 1. Yeah, this is why we designed it like that. J is starting from 1, but inside we're going to use j minus 1. And similarly, we need to just add the next value. Let me copy and paste the next value. So here, it's gonna be I minus 1 and j. Yeah. Now let me just run it to check if it works. As you can see, it works. Now let me just submit it. As you can see, it works, and it's part for testing cases. And the time complexity is what is that? It is O(n) square. Yes, definitely it is dependent on how many rows and what is going to be the length of the array. Definitely it is 30 times 30. So this is going to be the time complexity, because we use a nested for loop. And the number of rows are going to be 30. At the maximum element inside each row going to be 30. So the time complexity is going to be n squared. I think that's all about it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.